femur, just like the humerus has a rounded head that forms the ball part of the ball and socket joint. You've got two big bumps coming off of it. They're called trochanters instead of tubercles up in the humerus. The greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter, they're big muscle attachment points. They call this part the neck because the head is kind of almost a little bit offset from the rest of the femur, so that's called the neck of the femur. At the distal end, away from the body, you've got, entering into the knee joint, the condyles, femoral condyles. There's two of them. There's a medial and a lateral one. So, and there's epicondyles on, would be the bumps on the side. The condyles rest on, or articulate or join with what is called the tibial plateau. I don't know if everybody can get a view of that, but the top of the tibia is very much, a plateau is like a flat mountaintop. So it's a very flat kind of top to the tibia, and that's where all the weight of your body comes down. And so it's a kind of an inherently stable setup because you've got the rounded condyles sitting on that flat piece there, and that's where we'll take a look in a minute at some of the structures that support the knee joint. We kind of use the knee joint as an example to see those kinds of auxiliary ligaments and menisci that you can get in a joint, and we'll talk about why. That's kind of the reason that the knee joint is a fairly unstable joint, because of that very flat tibial plateau. All the weight of your body comes down on the tibia, and so the tibia is the bone that lines up with the big toe. The fibula, the much thinner fibula, is thin because it doesn't bear any weight. So you'll notice it doesn't enter into the knee joint. It just comes off the side here. And but what it does do is support the ankle joint. And so on either side of the ankle joint, you have what is called the lateral and medial malleolus sticking out on the. And those you can feel those on your own ankle. Those bony projections on either side of your ankle. The ankle joint itself, unlike in the wrist, there's really just one main bone out of all of these tarsal bones, the talus, that you should know that enters into the ankle joint itself, and it's a little bit bigger than the other ones. And then the other big tarsal bone sticking out posteriorly is the calcaneus, that forms the back of your foot or the heel and has that Achilles or calcaneal tendon coming in there that we talked about in lecture, being named after Achilles, whose mother grabbed him by those tendons and dipped him in the river Styx to make him invincible. So you can definitely feel that tendon. I think most people are familiar with it at the back of your ankle. And that tendon goes to the gastroc muscle that does the spring loading that gives us such an efficient upright bipedal gait that we talked about in lecture as well. So the rest of the tarsals, I don't think I have them on your wish list. I wouldn't spend much time memorizing those. And then the rest of the foot, you have just like in the hand, so you can see the mirror image or the homologous nature of it. You've got the, now they're metatarsals instead of metacarpals, forming the fleshy part of the sole of your foot, and then the free parts of your toes, the digits, are just called phalanges, the bones, as in your fingers. And in fact, you'll see that it's the exact same number, with 2 in the first or big toe and 3 in all the rest of the toes. And maybe you're familiar with that from your own foot. So that's pretty much a good enough